Evening and welcome to the Monday, March 9th, 2026, 5:30 p.m. meeting of the Community Police Review Commission. This meeting is now called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Thank you, Chair. Members, please unmute your microphones. Vice Chair Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Coleman.
Present.
Commissioner Corbs.
Present.
Commissioner Buenrostro is absent. Commissioner Griggs.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis is absent. Commissioner Janulius.
Present.
Commissioner Brookins is absent. Commissioner Espinoza Salazar is absent. And Chair Sample.
Present.
Thank you. We have quorum. And for the record, we have member Buenrostro walking up to the dais now.
All right. Thank you very much. We have a quorum. I would like to remind members of the public in chambers that if you would like to speak on an agenda item, please turn in a speaker slip before the item begins. After the item is called, we will no longer accept speaker slips. You will have 2 minutes to speak once you are called on. We will now proceed with today's agenda. Please rise if you're able for the opening acknowledgement in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan, the Southern Maidu Valley, the Plains Miwok, the Patwin Wintun peoples, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Thank you. Vice Chair, if you will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
My hands over your hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'd like to take this opportunity to again welcome everyone to our meeting. And to my fellow commissioners, I beg of your patience as I try to maneuver this first meeting chairing it. So if I mess up, just, well, holler at me or something later on. But welcome, everyone. All right. If there is no objection from members on the commission, I would like to move up public comments on matters not on the agenda. Is there any objection to me doing that? Okay, seeing none. Are there public comments on matters that are not on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair. We have no speaker slips for matters not on the agenda.
All right, thank you. Next, we will move to the approval of the consent calendar. Clerk, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on the consent calendar?
Thank you, Chair. I have no speaker slips for the consent calendar.
All right, we have no speakers. Are there any commissioners who wish to speak on this item? And for our public, that is the approval of the Sacramento Police Review Commission meeting minutes. Okay, seeing no one in queue to speak, is there a motion and a second for the consent calendar?
Motion, Chair.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Corpse. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. All right, we will now proceed to our discussion calendar. Our first item is discussion calendar item number 2. Which is the 2025 annual report and proposed 2026 work plan. So I will take this item once I get to my notes here. All right, so for purposes of the rest of the commission, as well as for our public, what you have in front of you in this agenda item is the annual report for the 2025 work of the commission. This report also includes our recommendations to the council. This report, when it is finalized, will be presented to the Personnel and Public Employees P&PE Committee for consideration, and then it will be forwarded to the City Council. Just to kind of walk you through the report and, again, answer any questions if you have them. The report just kind of outlines the work of this commission from January 2025 through December, as well as it outlines our focus areas that we discussed at the last meeting. So what I did was I took the areas we talked about and incorporated those into this upcoming year's work plan. Beginning with the 2025 accomplishments, it kind of outlines that within your report. Really 5 primary goals there, you know, looking at the work of this commission, the number of meetings that we held. All of those things are kind of contained in the attachment to this document. The 2 recommendations in this report that you will see is, one, that the council considers options for providing staffing support to this commission. And again, that is just looking at the fact that this commission is not staffed, and so how we could better support our community and the work that we need. And then the second is formalizing our structured onboarding and ongoing training for the commissioners. So those were the 2 recommendations that were outlined in this annual report. So I'll stop there and I will before I open this, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
Thank you, Chair. No speaker slips for item 2.
Okay. At this time, are there any members of the commission who would like to discuss? And myself and the vice chair will take copious notes as we look to finalize this report on behalf of our body. Okay. All right, seeing no speakers, as chair, then I will move to the second part of this, which is pass a motion approving the annual report and work plan and authorizing the chair and vice chair to finalize the report and for the finalized report to the P&PE Committee for consideration of forwarding to council pursuant to City Council Rules of Procedure, Chapter 17, Section C. Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Buenrostro, okay.
I second.
Okay, all right, so it's been moved and seconded. Again, just want to, before we take this vote, to really, once again, acknowledge the work of last year's chair and vice chair for doing a phenomenal job of leading this body and I think helping us to accomplish a lot of great work. So definitely that needs to be said, and I want to make sure that that's said. So seeing no other comments, and we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. Our next item is proposed 2026 work plan ad hoc committees. And so this item is for us to discuss our ad hoc committees for the proposed 2026 work plan. as well as begin to look at volunteers for the chair to begin to fill those spaces. So with that being said, Clerk, are there any members of the public who wish to address this item?
Thank you, Chair. I have no speaker slips for item 3.
Okay. So I want to kind of walk through a little bit of the work plan and then just kind of hear from you, your thoughts. I'm sorry, there we go. At our last meeting, we kind of came up with these goals and priorities, or at least the buckets that then I took and kind of put into some planned actions that could go within those buckets. I will say, for the purpose of this group, these are everything that was on the list. We are more than welcome to extend, shorten, but these are all the items that we did have kind of bulleted out at the last meeting. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to the commission for your discussion, comments. Are we all in agreement with these 5 areas, or do we feel like we need to do more or less? Okay. Commissioner Corpse?
First, I'd just like to say thank you to the chair and vice chair for putting so much work into this. Thank you very much. And I'm just looking over, or have looked over, the goals and priorities, and I personally am all in line with all of these. I do have some comments in regards to the ad hoc committees. I felt like, and I can only speak on behalf of last year, when there was 3 ad hoc committees, and I kind of feel like maybe I was just trying to figure out how those work and what we should be doing. And we do have a requirement for MEU.
Yes.
So that is an absolute requirement. So I mean, I definitely think we need to have an ad hoc committee for that. I personally like the idea of some type of community outreach, although the MEU meeting would be community outreach as well. I had brought up last meeting about in August during National Night Out, partnering with your city council member or your representative and asking if you can tag along to those events that they go to, which would be a good opportunity to meet the community, share who we are. So I like that. And then I don't know if anybody else has any ideas around ad hoc committees. I know that the one that Chair Sample and I were on last year, and Commissioner Griggs, we had all these grandiose ideas about doing something with the youth in our community. I know that Commissioner Lewis was on one that, and I don't know if you were on that one, about public safety, or not public safety, but transportation, right? And I don't know how much was accomplished on, like, is there still more to be done on that? Do you want to continue to do that? But I would rather set goals of knowing that we can accomplish these things. And I really feel like MEU we can accomplish. Reaching out to our respective city council members and attending National Night Out with them is something we can accomplish. We know we can do that. And then obviously we need to work on our work plan. So maybe trying to keep it somewhat simple this year so we can really get our footing. But I'm open to anything, but I wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Vice Chair Johnson?
I think that's a really good idea that we do engage with our district councilmen and their night outs and their events, community events in the areas, because it gives us a good idea of exactly what participation that is getting in from the community, as well as the feel of how the community is feeling about their particular area. And even sometimes you get an acknowledgement of knowing of how our police department is participating in some of those areas. And I think that's a really big help. I know in District 2, we have done that quite a few times and been a part of that. And I think that if we could possibly look at some of these areas that we could possibly even condense it down to the point where it'll group up together with the ad hoc possibly, and we could probably knock it out in no time, you know, because we will bring back the feedback to the commission and realize that we are much further along because we're involved.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Buenrostro.
So just piggybacking on the comments from Commissioner Corbs. So as I read these, because I think MEU policy needs to happen, I'm assuming that will be covered under the first work group, Outreach and Events Ad Hoc Committee, which is also tasked with coordinating commissioner participation in community events, planning community listening sessions. And I guess based on that, the question to throw back to the commission is should there be a separate work group to just focus on MEU, and then this work group focuses on additional community outreach and activities? And I don't have an answer for that. I'm posing that as a question. Maybe that would free up this committee to focus more on the additional outreach activities, and folks interested in MEU policy can focus on that and make sure that that's done well as well. So that's the main feedback I have. I really appreciate the clarity in which this is being presented. So it does allow us to make that comment without making it super complicated. So I do appreciate the work that was done here, but maybe we do want to, you know, create a separate one for just MEU policy.
That's good feedback, thank you. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Corbs.
Am I ready to speak? It looks so. Okay. I agree. I know that those two were supposed to be kind of together, but I felt like MEU is kind of a big deal, right? So maybe they should have their own ad hoc committee. I'm asking you that. It's not, you don't, no, I know. I'm just saying I think that's a big deal. So maybe it should have its own committee, and then there could be a ad hoc committee that focuses on community events. I was just going to say with Commissioner Johnson, Wednesday night, my city council member is having a public safety event with the city manager, right? So I'm going to be there for that. Like, what a great opportunity to say, looky here, I sit on the police commission. You know what I mean? And at least kind of share a little bit of what we do. So there's definitely opportunities, and every single one of the council members are out trying to do community events and meeting with their constituents and so forth. So I'll be there on Wednesday night, and we'll hopefully have the opportunity to introduce myself to whoever shows up. But I think, I love what Commissioner Buenrostro said, is that maybe those two, there needs to be two ad hocs, just so it could be a little bit more focused, but I'm up for anything.
Vice Chair Johnson.
And maybe even with MEU, we could find out exactly where we are with that, especially now that we've run a couple of community meetings already. And we can find out exactly, you know, what the pulse is, where we're at with that, because it seems, even in attending the council meetings, that it's been not much as it flared for it, not against it, you know, and people are kind of like taking kind of blending into not so much speaking out against it or for it. And so we need to maybe take a pulse and see where it's at. You know, we finally now realizing that the public is in agreement with it, and then how do we feel and how does the council feel about where we're at with that. And I think it's almost really close shop with that one, especially with all that's been going around in Sacramento and around the areas with our police department and, you know, the violence we've been having, that, you know, what's needed, whatever police could have to use is needed. So we just go along and find out exactly where we are with that.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner G. Nuelis. Ginulia. I'm going to get it.
It's okay. This is piggybacking on what Commissioner Corbs was saying about events and things like that, and building awareness about what we do and what our mission is. But maybe, like you said, working closely with council members, but not just for National Night Out. There must be like top 3 that we can ask. What are your top 3 that you want to see us at? How do you want us to participate? You know, how do you want us to build awareness? And maybe there's more than just one. Like the public safety event that your council members join. There must be more of those out there that we're not aware of.
To which I think my wondering would be is, you know, some of that work really should be part of us strengthening our partnership with our city council member. So Vice Chair Johnson, you want to talk a little bit about your thought in terms of ways that we could better interact with our council members?
I think I look at it as that I have an open door with my councilman, and I've already sat down with him before and find out his feelings of community involvement, especially when it comes to the police department, which he has a pretty good relationship with. And then it's a situation of, you know, I know we're busy, and I know we have our own personal lives and our own jobs and things like that, but it's easier for us to get something passed or something done when we have a relationship with our councilman. Because anytime something comes before them on our behalf, then there they are to speak up for us and to realize that, you know, well, I haven't heard from them. I don't know what they do on that council. I don't know what goes on in the commission, what they're doing, but we have that type of relationship built in to where they don't feel that way. And as long as we continue to keep ourselves plugged in, then it makes it a whole lot easier, even with our ad hocs, because some information like I had last year that we're serving on ad hoc, it made it easier for me just to call into the city council's office and says, hey, I'm working on this ad hoc, and I need to know if there's a point of contact that I can go to. And they were able to say, hold on. Or they will say that I got somebody I can assign that to you and help you out on, and boom, it was able to help you out that way. So I think it's an area that we can say plug in to them a little bit more often, and that's the type of personality I know we have.
Great. So just to summarize kind of what I think I'm hearing from the collective commission is, we really would like our ad hoc work and our work plan to really be focused, maybe even combining this list a little bit more to the military equipment use work that we have to do, which I think we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Community outreach, which would include events, activities, National Night Out, also working under that one with our local council member. Maybe that's just a job that all of us take on individually. And then the one suggestion that I would like to offer is that we have an ad hoc to focus on the work plan, so that that work is being done throughout the year versus kind of trying to wait till the end of the year to put it all together. So this ad hoc would gather information, gather data, that they would just kind of throughout this calendar year put that stuff together so that our report becomes more of a culmination, not trying to have the chair and vice chair regurgitate really quickly. Okay? Commissioner Corpse.
I hate to even bring this up. Should we have a special ad hoc committee for training? Like, we've been talking about training for so long. And here we are, and the attorney's probably just going, enough of that, right? She's like, stop it. What are we gonna do? We gotta move forward with this. Should we assign an ad hoc for that? Should we not? Or Chair, are you going to just put that on the agenda starting next month?
So my question then is to the attorney. Is that a function that the chair and vice chair could be as part of our agenda planning?
It could be once council, PP&E and council have reviewed it. So you've just approved your annual report with that recommendation. PP&E has to review it first before you can actually officially move forward with it. And council basically either, they may act on it, they may not act on it, but as long as it goes to council, then you can move forward with the plan. At this point, it's more of if staff wants to voluntarily bring a presentation. I think Captain Buchanan mentioned that last time. He would be interested in starting on his own before council reviews it. Once a plan is approved by council, I could, you could put a committee together to just make sure the trainings are happening, to talk to staff and whomever to make sure that part is coordinated instead of it being the responsibility of chair and vice chair. Or if you want to take that on, you can take on the responsibility of just making sure those things are added to the agenda.
But since we already approved the work plan, is it too late to add that to the work plan?
So the work plan, my understanding, the work plan is for your 2026.
Right.
So your recommendation is, the training is part of your recommendations. So that just needs to be approved as, yes, go ahead, commission,
Okay.
move
So
forward.
it doesn't need to
with
be
it.
part of that
No,
work? Oh, okay.
no.
Okay, so good. Okay,
So we would not need to like change our motion or anything on that. It's just
okay.
No, it's
part
just
of what moves forward.
correct. And like I said, you can talk with staff ahead of time to see if they want to do that on their own, or you could just wait for council's approval to kind of move forward with implementing.
Commissioner Griggs.
This is the best time. I just wanted to add regarding training. I can't say enough about it. It's very important to all of us. And last month, I had a great opportunity. I was able to go down to the Golden One Center and participate in a active shooter drill with the Sacramento City Police Department, the FBI, and the Sacramento Fire Department. It's this normal training for the police officers, and if you ask me how many were there, I would say almost all of them. And this is a very positive training that was taking place, and they took the time to walk me around, explain to me exactly what they were doing from a police perspective. They had a great number of firefighters there also that were mitigating or acting as if they were mitigating problems with patients. And there was on top of the shooting, there was also a bomb involved. It was a very, very detailed training session, and it was excellent. And it didn't matter that it was pouring down rain outside, because you don't know what's going to happen in an emergency. So the reason I'm bringing it up, again, is just to thank the police department for allowing me to do this, but also to support what they're there for, is to take care of the public. And each one of us needs to attend one or many training sessions to find out exactly what's going on in our police department. How else are we going to know what to vote on when we talk about whether the police officers should do this or should do that? But this is, again, just unbelievably great training. And I highly recommend any and all of us jump in at any chance that they get to try and get some training.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Buenrostro.
I'm assuming that in approving this work plan, and once these committees have conversations, I'm assuming that this wouldn't preclude us from establishing an additional ad hoc that might not be listed here. I'm assuming that as long as it's with the goals, we're flexible enough to be able to establish additional ad hocs, even though it might not be explicit in the work plan, but I guess I'm assuming it's assumed within the work plan that we could do those things.
Yes, you can continue to create ad hocs as you guys work on these topics once you get approved. But yeah, they can take on different forms and be modified and changed as needed.
And that's a good, so based on that, I know that we talked about, do we need a committee for this? Do we need a separate one for the MAU policy? I think I'm leaning towards being comfortable with just approving this as it is. Once the ad hocs meet, there's two, right? In those conversations, they can determine, for example, for the first ad hoc, they can determine if, yes, we probably do want to have a separate MAU one, and they can bring that back to this body, and then we can do that, right? So I guess I'm leaning towards, this looks like a good plan. Once this gets approved and ad hocs meet for the first time, then there can be additional recommendations from them about whether some of this work needs to be split up a little bit more into a more focused committee. So I think that helps for me clarify that we are a little flexible with how this might be organized.
Perfect, thank you for that. Commissioner Coleman.
Yes, actually, I have two small questions. First one for Rick. The training you went to, how did you hear about this? Could you tell us how you came about?
I was actually speaking to, after the meeting, I was speaking to Lieutenant Buchanan, and he brought that up and actually asked me to go. But the training that's provided, one part of it would be here, which we talked about briefly. The other is doing ride-alongs, and I was just talking to Chair about this earlier. There's pretty much no limit to what you can do with the police department as far as ride-alongs. You can go with air ops, or you can go with K-9, or you can ride along with patrol, or you can probably work with Blake. And I don't want to speak for her, but I'm just saying that there are so many different divisions that you could do a ride-along or share some time with in the police department to find out what their jobs are like, just by making a phone call or contacting Captain Buchanan or possibly Blake. Is that correct, Blake? Okay. But yeah, the training is endless, and it's required of the police officers as well to keep their post certifications. But again, just jump out there and ask. That's the main thing.
Good. And thank you for answering that, Rick.
And I'll be happy to help you out on that too if you want to do something. I can help liaise with the police department.
I'm in contact with a few people in my local department already. I need to get a ride-along scheduled. For the second part, maybe a silly question. What exactly does the military equipment use outreach look like? Like, what is that? Are we just explaining it to the public, or I don't know what that means, honestly. Outreach.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little bit. One of our kind of foundational responsibilities is to basically get feedback or input from the community. And so we host a session or multiple kind of listening sessions with the community to get information. It's done in partnership with PD, where they will also kind of present what equipment is being used, what's out there. And so it's really a very interactive, facilitated conversation that we have with our community.
Understood. Does the general public have this as the same thing as well, or?
Yes,
Okay.
so I think Vice Chair, you were on that subcommittee last time, so you want to
Yeah.
speak to that?
That's why I say I think we're almost there. I think we're almost there because the last meeting that we had, and our police department, the Sacramento Police Department, was there to explain a little bit more in depth about how far they have come and how far they are along with the process, and that how much that we as a public now could feel at ease, because it's not so much of what you think the title of it is that a lot of it's in use because it's been already sanctioned along police departments around the United States to be in use. And so there was a long list of recommendations written up on behalf of the police department to share with the public. And also what they did was they gave each one of us, if not the hard copy, but gave us email link to go into, look where we can find out all about the reports and how it's written down. And then, like I said, again, here you are to where you're being on a commission. You can always ask our captain or our police department here to kind of brief you or kind of say, where we are with that. That's why I said we need to kind of find out where we're going with that, because again, I really don't think that our role in really monitoring or going through it for another year, I think we're real past that point now. It's almost like we could be on other things than worrying about that.
So it's more of an educational thing.
Yeah, because community has been very educated. What they had done, and they've hit in certain areas of communities around the city of Sacramento, and for the public to come in and to give their comments on it and to be aware of what's happening. And I think the main thing now is with our public is, especially in our district, is that it's more not police equipment, but it's more like police attitude, performance in those particular communities that they're concerned about with.
Okay. To answer your question, sir?
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Griggs?
Yes, just something to add real quickly. I believe there was a notice that went out regarding Community Academy Day, which is coming up. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct. The district attorney's office, it's in April 7th, and I think you have like 3 or 4 more days to apply, and we can send you guys that link again.
You'll spend a great day with the police department. It lasts about 4 hours, something like that. You get a chance to meet the officers, see some of the different divisions that work for the police department, interact with them. You get to do a few scenarios, which is a lot of fun, and it gives you a chance to learn what police officers do. And you get a chance to see the chief. She's there, and she's there for quite some time, actually, question and answers. And I'm sorry, I just lost what the last thing I was going to say, but it's absolutely worth your while to go and spend the day with them. You get a free lunch too. That's what I was going to say.
Commissioner, if I can just clarify, so we do a community day, like the commissioner is talking about. It's typically out at our police academy. We bring out all the equipment, a lot of the units, and the community is open to coming out and seeing all that and listening to the chief. There's also a Citizens Academy coming up, which the district attorney's office is hosting, but it involves a lot of the law enforcement partners, PD, sheriff, probation. That one's a longer. I think during that you actually go on a ride along. You have opportunities to maybe go out to the dispatch, communications center, hear from all the different entities, but I believe that's more over like 10 weeks. So it's a longer, like more academy type thing. But the commissioner is referring to a day that we typically host out at the academy, and I don't know that we have that planned yet. But that's something we typically do on a regular basis.
Thank you, Lieutenant Thompson. All right, Commissioner Corpse.
So 2 things. The Citizens Academy was specifically for the district attorney's office, and that is 10 weeks long, and it's every Tuesday starting April 7th. I think it's for 2 hours. I haven't attended it yet, but I know numerous people have, and they love it. They say you learn so much about not only Sacramento Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, DA's office, all that stuff. So you're right. So I know that we've talked with Captain Buchanan about the day for the community, and so that date hasn't been set yet, not yet.
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
but we can look into that and get back to you guys on that
Okay.
one.
The other thing I just want to comment on with Commissioner Johnson and the MEU policy, the meetings, those are required. Like, we have to do those by law, California state law or something, but it's my understanding the sheriff's the Sheriff's Community Review Commission, whatever that acronym is, and maybe they want to come up and speak on that. They actually do it during one of their community meetings. Commissioner Cho, did you want to speak on that? No? Because they actually do it during one of their meetings like this instead of having it out at the community. And I don't know if that would be an option or not. It doesn't matter to me. The last 2 years it's been at the Oak Park Community Center, which is a great location. With that being said, it's been very, very difficult to get people to attend. What I will say is that the people that have attended have overwhelmingly supported the military equipment, overwhelmingly. So you're right. I think we're getting to a point where the community understands the need for the police department to have this type of equipment. But it might be something good for the MEU ad hoc committee to decide, do we want to do that still at a community, or maybe we'll do one at the community center and also have one here. And the hardest part is advertising, right? This was happening last year, or the last 2 years, and there's a handful of people there. Like, how great would it be to have more people attend these meetings and get more input? But the police department does an amazing job. They give you statistics. This is how many times we used our equipment. These are the zip codes where we use the equipment. And it's so great. And all of that, and if you could just share with us, it's on the Transparency website?
That's
or
correct.
But on SAC PD's Transparency website?
That's correct. We're required by law to post it on the website.
can go and see
By
it.
law, it has to be up for 30 days before we even have that meeting.
So it's all there available, but I mean, so Commissioner Cho, don't sit down.
Well, I was going to ask before Commissioner, our colleague goes, this item, we're actually going to talk, or it's agendized to talk as the next item about
Oh,
the
okay,
MEU. So I
maybe
don't
we'll
want to, agenda drift. Am I correct there, Attorney? Yeah, so let's not agenda drift yet, but we will talk about, because the next item is outreach, community engagement ideals and efforts for the annual MEU policy.
Okay.
Community forum.
Hang
So-
tight. So we'll have you back up.
All right. Commissioner Griggs. You're done. All right.
I have a quick question, actually, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and take that spot. Question for Ariel. Just to back up and kind of off topic, since we started the MEU, I thought I heard you say something about being able to add additional ad hocs throughout the year. Is that correct? Did I misunderstand you?
Yes, the chair can add ad hocs anytime.
And ad hocs are for 1 year, and is that calendar year, or is it for,
From when they're set,
from when they're set?
yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you so much.
So maybe just to give a little clarification about the ad hocs, our current ad hocs, and the city clerk's office will have to help me make sure I get this correct. Our current ad hocs are started in our April meeting. So their 1-year expiration will be at our next meeting. And then we will constitute our new ad hocs for the following cycle. Okay. All right. So this item was just to kind of recap, was to discuss our ad hoc committees for the proposed work plan. And then it was that the chair may create an ad hoc committee for the commission and appoint commissioners to that committee. If I'm correct, there's really no action on this other than I've now taken the input from this body to kind of know that we're going to go with Commissioner Buenrostro. We're going to go with this work plan, and we will build ad hocs off of that. Did I catch that correctly, or do I need a motion to that effect?
No, you don't need a motion.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that item? Okay, seeing none. Moving to item 4, military equipment use. Our schedule for that, this item is to discuss the Sacramento Community Police Review Commission's outreach and community engagement, suggestions, ideals, and efforts for the annual MEU Policy Community Forum. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak to this item?
Thank you, Chair. I have no speaker slips for item 4.
All right. So now we can jump into this item. And so basically, Commission, this is really a large charge for us. This is a majority of our work based on AB 481. And so this is some of the work that we are to do. And I think based on some of your feedback, you may be interested in doing this work a little bit different in terms of taking information. So with that being said, Karen, did you want to finish your statement that
I just thought we could maybe, since we have our partners here from the county, and they do their MEU meetings a little bit differently than we have, if maybe they want to share how they've been doing theirs the last couple of years, because they attended ours last year. So they have a perspective of both.
Good evening, Commissioners, staff. We currently have an ad hoc to explore compliance with 481, not only with the Sheriff's Office, but other jurisdictions throughout the state. We've developed nearly 4 recommendations for the Sheriff's Office and the Commission and the Board of Supervisors to manage that going forward. Typically, in the past, what the Sheriff's Office has done is presented, and it's also the opinion of County Council, that the Sheriff's Office presents to the Commission, and that qualifies as the AB 481 Community Engagement Meeting. Based on what we've learned in the ad hoc, we disagree with that. The Sheriff's Office, it's our opinion the Sheriff's Office is not compliant with AB 481, the Community Engagement Meeting, because they are presenting to a restrictive Brown Act body, which limits conversation, back and forth, questions and answers as intended by AB 481 and Government Code 7072. So I would not recommend your commission or your city or your police department do it like the county does. That was my personal opinion and statement. What I can tell you is through our research, we've learned that we've surveyed 12 different agencies throughout the state, and even including others that we know of anecdotally, they all share the same legal opinion and the same practice that you do for 481 community engagement meetings. There are a couple outliers in the state that do not do it this way, and we believe those agencies are not in compliance, including our Sheriff's Office. The City of Los Angeles, as I'm sure you're aware, their city auditor's office has noted or highlighted the City of Sacramento, the police department, your commission, as the gold standard of how it should be done in the state. So that's one thing we're looking at, we're modeling and recommending as well. So you're doing okay.
You know, anytime you say we're the gold standard of what should be done, let's set the bar as Sacramento. So thank you for that. Great.
I never know if I'm on
Commissioner
or if I'm
Forbes, go
off.
ahead.
Like, am I on? So thank you for sharing that, and we really appreciate that, because we've heard that, and I read the report that stated that Sacramento really has stepped it up and is what other agencies are looking to do or emulate, replicate. So that's great, and I wish you good luck with your meetings to get a community event for that, so thank you. I don't know if anybody has any questions for Commissioner Cho before we let him.
Thank you. We're always available offline to answer any questions and work together. And look for our report. Should be out in a few months. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Commissioner Buenrostro.
Hey, so I think we're getting feedback on MEU.
MEU,
right?
correct.
Outreach. So first of all, I just want to note that I do appreciate the city council updating the calendar to fix an issue that we had where the window was getting pushed back every year. So I like that fact there's a set calendar. I do want to note that the mandated forum is going to probably be in a tight window for us. That's going to probably limit, well, not limit, but narrow down on the dates that it needs to happen. So based on my reading of the calendar, the police department, the latest that they can release and publish a report is the 3rd week of June. And the earliest that this commission can hold a forum is 30 days after that. And it needs to happen before end of July. So that means that if the police department releases it at the latest date, which could happen, but it could also be earlier, then the window would be the last 2 weeks of July in which this forum could happen. Maybe there's a little bit more time if the report is released earlier, but I'm just noting that because that's going to set the calendar for us a little bit. And then the other piece of feedback that I had is, I did find the forum useful last year in informing the public about what is military equipment, what are the definitions of military equipment, because I think that's very nuanced and gets very, I think it's good information for the public, and it also allows the public to provide better feedback to the department. I'm wondering if, as part of the outreach activities, each of us can maybe make a list of neighborhood associations where we might invite the department to come and do a presentation on what MEU is. But having said that, would that be considered part of the MEU forum, or could that be considered something that is just outreach and informational for the public? Because then that would limit when that happens, when in reality, I kind of feel like the department coming to a community group to just inform them on what military equipment is. Maybe if it's not considered officially this forum, hopefully maybe that gives us more flexibility with engaging the public on informing them and also getting feedback in general on this topic.
I like that. Is that, city attorney, is that something that we're able to do within this?
Okay, so here's a scenario. Let's say that I invite the police department to come to my neighborhood association to do a presentation on what military equipment is, just to inform the public. My hope is that that is not considered the official military equipment use forum.
For their purposes of compliance, or,
Yes.
okay, so I'll have to ask their attorney. That I wouldn't be able to give my legal opinion on whether that would comply for their purposes.
And I'll weigh in here, so just a couple things. I think typically we make sure that's a well-publicized community event for the entire city to attend. So we want the forum to include, be able to hold everyone. And the law only requires us to have at least one of those. It doesn't say that we have to have 2 or 3, but we can. To your point, Commissioner, we do have a timeline that we're working with. The end of the 3rd week of June, when we have to have the report and policy published, that's like the last date to have it done. We're on track to stay with what we typically do, where we release it in the beginning of June, typically right around the 1st, so that we have as much time to get that one official one done per the law. With the updated timeline that the council was able to accomplish last year, there should be more opportunities for us to host additional meetings if the commission would like to. Whether that's neighborhood associations like you're talking about. The next official date we would be looking at is the law and ledge date. There's some language in there that it's between August and September that we have to have that law and ledge meeting per council. And then just keeping an open mind to the fact that if we were to make changes that were substantive, we potentially could have to republish the report and go through the 30-day process in the community meeting. That would, in my opinion, would require the attorneys to get involved to make sure that's how the language reads, but that's my basic understanding of it. So my team is on track to have that out in the beginning of June, so hopefully we won't have too much of a time crunch to get that community meeting in.
Very helpful. And just want to commend the department on working on this. One comment that we got from the council last year when they reviewed the report is that things that the council had requested a year previously were added to the report. So they do, I got the sense that there was improvements every year to the reporting and things that were being asked by the public and also the council members. So I do want to say that it's something where we have noted improvement and we continue to see improvement. So we appreciate that.
And I appreciate the commissioner acknowledging the LA report, because that was big for us to be recognized. But it's also worth recognizing that that report, our current policy report, doesn't get to where it's at without the work of what the commission's done, the community members that have challenged us on things, what the council has pushed us to. It's the work product and years of refining that report and policy to get where it's at. So, and we're going to continue to keep making it better.
Okay, Commissioner Corpse.
I thought that the city council had extended that time.
Yes, Commissioner. So what we extended was the final approval of it was kind of the big thing that we extended. So the council has till the end of the annual year essentially December 31st to finalize the report and policy.
Okay, so that's what was extended.
That's the big thing. There's still
Okay,
some
I thought
milestones
this
built in, but
timeframe for the community meeting was extended, but I guess not, okay. And the only other thing I would say, Commissioner Buenrostro, is I've been to a number of neighborhood association meetings where the police department is there already. They usually come monthly to the meetings anyways to give an update, and there's plenty of people that ask questions about the equipment that they're using. And as far as I know, that doesn't affect the community meeting that is required by law. I mean, they just attend and people ask questions and they answer them. So, yeah, so.
Yeah, so my assumption is it just can't be an official meeting.
It's not the
for
official
requirement.
one, right? But since the police department's already at your community neighborhood association meetings, you can ask any question you want and they'll answer them.
and I'll just add a few more things. Like we do, if you guys recall, we do send out kind of like a question and answer or a questionnaire in multiple languages for people to weigh in and make comments to the report and policy. And then when we do host the community meeting, it's recorded, it's live streamed, it's put up on the website, which includes the PowerPoint that we go through typically, attached to the report and those kinds of things. So somebody can watch that after the fact. The past couple of years are on there if you are so inclined to kind of see what we did last year.
All right, are there other speakers on this item? All right, so just to summarize, I think what I'm hearing collectively from this group is that as this moves to the soon-to-be ad hoc committee, that we want them to look at some strategies around sharing this information, obviously at neighborhood association events, but we are going to follow the timeline as given here by the council to work with PD. And then we're going to target somewhere between the last 2 weeks of July for us to have our outreach. Am I hearing that correctly?
With the likelihood that we would have more than the last 2 weeks of July, because, I mean, it seems like if the department does publish it earlier, we're going to have.
We'll have
a
more
bit
time. Okay. All right, I think this was not an action item. This was just kind of a discussion. And so I think I have your notes and direction on that. Okay. Anything else on that item? All right, item 5. Item 5 is the Sacramento Community Police Review Commission follow-up log. This item is to review, discuss, and then pass a motion removing all of the items on the follow-up log, and I'll share a little bit more what that means when I say remove. And then the other part would be adding items to the follow-up log, if any. And so just for, well, let me ask before I go into that, are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item?
Thank you, Chair. I have no speaker slips for item 5.
So really this item, members, is the finalization of our previous follow-up log, and these items will move to kind of the archive list, and then we will start our follow-up log fresh for 2026, and then we'll continue kind of going through tracking these for this upcoming year. So this is to move the current items over to archives unless you feel there's something on this current list that you want to advance forward. Otherwise, we will move all of these over to archives and we will start a new follow-up log. Okay, any member of the commission wish to discuss this item? Vice Chair Johnson?
I truly agree with this one suggestion because we have seen in the past where we can get so bottled down in these follow-up logs and even tie up with our agenda every week, trying to go back over them again when we really not just skimming over them, and we're not accomplishing anything. So if we could just start fresh with Mr. Chair, I just know that we can just accomplish a little bit more and then feel good about getting some things done.
Thank you. And I will tell you, as I review the log, we have a number of things that were requested back in 19, 20, 21, 22. And it seems like we stopped around April of 23. So this feels like a great opportunity for us to refresh this and ensure that we move these items. Okay. So if there's no other speakers on this item, I would entertain a motion to remove all of the items on the follow-up log over to be archived. And it doesn't sound like there's any item that anyone wants to advance to a new 2026 follow-up log. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we move the existing follow-up log to the archives and start anew 2026. Will that cover everything that we?
Think so. Will that cover everything, Attorney? All right. So it's been moved by Commissioner Griggs. The chair
Second.
will second it.
I second.
Okay, seconded by the vice chair. Any other discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Moving to our next agenda item, staff and commissioner comments. Okay. Seeing no comments from staff or commissioner. Oh, I see, Mr. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Coleman, sorry about that. Man, I was getting ready to move, like, zip through.
Just about, we spoke a lot about like outreach and getting in front of the community and talking. I don't know what everybody on the commission, their relationship is with their district representative. But for mine, particularly, like she tries to meet every week. Like she has a little meeting with the people who come see her. And she, it gives me a good read on a bigger read on what's going on in my community, in my neighborhood. But also, when she has events, her people reach out to all the commissioners that are in the district. So I feel like if we just take advantage of those emails and like, hey, I'm going to be speaking at such and such an event, you know what I mean? You guys come on out and support. Because sometimes they get questions, and then the question is about police, MEU or something like that, and they go, oh, look, our commissioner's right here. You know what I mean? So I was just assuming everybody had the same relationship with their district representative. So it should. I feel like that's an easy thing for us to do. It's just show up like when invited, and I thought it'd be a lot harder, but no, that's easy. But I honestly, again, thank you guys so much for your patience with me and it being crystal clear. I'm a big fan of ask whatever I think I should know. I should probably, and I don't know, I should probably ask that question. And you guys are super patient with it, and I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Other comments, ideas, or questions? Okay. Seeing none, we've already done public comments on matters not on the agenda, so we advance that item. Seeing none, that concludes our meeting, and we are now adjourned. Thank you for your patience, everybody.